Next up is the Sunil from first company I worked for, corporate America, Microsoft.
Welcome everyone. I am Sunil from Microsoft. I'm with Microsoft for last 6 years it will be, but I've been working in the Valley for a long time. I was part of I know today you will see right, Intel is hot again, right? In 90s, almost early 90s, I was part of the first Pentium chip design team. I designed the BiCMOS process, IO logic controllers. It's great to see Intel back again. But what I did 30 years back, but what I do is very different, right? I'm with Microsoft, I'm with the data factory team, in Azure data factory, Fabric data factory team, and we do tons of trillions of rows of data integration, whether it's industry, whether it's a finance, whether it's IT, doesn't matter. I'm in the data integration business. The reason for this talk, talking to David, what we make more important, given the physical AI is the name of the game. And last 6 to 9 months, I have been seeing from our customers, right, with Microsoft, NVIDIA, pretty good relationship, and we are building these factories, and we were one of the first to put the Vera Rubin in our data center, and I see customer adoption, right? But as these implementations go to the action, what is lacking, right? When you talk to customers, right, see all the Fortune 500 customers, right, all over the globe, right? They are with AWS, they are with Google, they are with Azure. Now coming to the centralized data analytics, right? We have our Snowflake, we have our Databricks, and Microsoft is also there, right? So everybody has mixture of something, right? So when you talk about physical AI, right, whether it is your car manufacturing or iPhone manufacturing or Grubhub build mobile delivery robots in Fremont, doesn't matter, right? But something physical you are building to do a business, to solve a business problem, right? Assembling an iPhone or assembling a car or delivering food. So as I looked at it deep, what is the central thing that is affecting everyone, right? We're all very important, right? One is identity, right? Identity means who is operating it, who is issuing the work, and which robot is doing the work. And once the work is getting done, how I am analyzing it, right? How I'm auditing it, right? What is the track record? Right? See, before me, I know Abhishek gave a solution on like AWS, very good, and Shankar gave where the industry is going, right? So this talk, I'm really go a little bit down, right? I'll see how really things work and should work. Okay, that's all. Okay, yeah. So basically, after my talk, I want to reach some kind of framework, identity and data brokers, and the cross-cloud collaboration. Okay, that's the goal. So here is the agenda, right? Though it's a 7-point agenda, but it's basically start with multi-cloud. When you look at a multi-cloud and humanoids, it's a crisis. I'll tell you why. And then what we need is something called identity and the trust framework. And then we have to work across the cloud ecosystem, whether it's AWS, whether it's Azure, whether it's Google, doesn't matter. And see, in the end, whatever we do, the work is done by a robot. And go 10 years back, Microsoft was the champion of a business worker, right? Number one, right? We became with the Power BI, with our Dynamics, right? So Satya Nadella and our CEO said, hey, how can we think about the new work? An agent is doing the work, a robot is doing the work, but that work is producing business data, business result. How can you make it accountable? So it goes back to the data, right? Unified data lake house. Now nobody's building warehouses, putting 1,000 machines just on the file systems, right? With new Iceberg and Delta Lake format, you put all the data back, whether it's from AWS, whether it's from Google or Microsoft, doesn't matter. We need that strategy. And whatever we do, some of the data is there, identity is there. We need safety, security, and compliance. And then that's important. We'll talk about that. And automated relearning and evolution. I know our previous speakers talk about, right? In today's industry 5.0 or whatever, this optimization, this is healing, right? You have to learn, adapt, and get better. That's the name of the game. Okay, that's I think Shankar spoke it very well, right? About that, and I have a roadmap. Okay. So if why today, right? I know humanoids, physical AI is everywhere, $1 trillion. Jensen Huang always speaks about it. Oh, I'll have $1 trillion revenue. But the core of the problem, when you think of the physical AI factory, right? Humanoids require distributed compute. One is brain, other is physics, what Abhishek talked about, the simulation, also a little demo if I have time, motor, and authentication, right? They all work on different clouds, okay? And when all these computes work across clouds, okay, they have to be coordinated, they have to be correlated, right? They have to be properly authenticated. So there is a trust gap. No single source of truth for identity and state synchronization. See, right now, I don't know if there is a centralized, suppose I'm Samsung building a factory, or Foxconn is building a factory, it doesn't matter, or Ford, what is the central identity source for each robot working, or each person operating, or each executive reading the report, what is their identity, right? Anybody can answer? It takes time. People just go fast, they implement, but in the end, before they go production, they all have to figure it, and there is a big crisis. Okay, so the solution is we need a unified identity and data broker to resolve these cloud dependencies. Okay. So what is so again, I'm just peeling the onion here. The reality is humanoids require specialized compute, right? It could be Azure Brain, NVIDIA Physics, AWS Motion, AWS this IoT Grass, right? That one, or Huawei. So I put Huawei example, right? If you look at go to the world today, where most of the physical AI factories are in China, right? And in Huawei is their that is a telecom provider. They have the 6G plus, they have a telecom protocols, right? They have a special connectivity to the robot, get the data, and through a telecom network. A lot of innovation is happening there, okay? And then we need some real-time feed from those robots going back to the central data repository for analytics. It could be a Microsoft Fabric RTI or Google PubSub technique, right? And in the end, we need Databricks, a Snowflake type of analytics. I'm talking about SMB, like some medium to large scale customers here, right? Because they are the guys who are building these factories, physical AI factories. So when you put all these things together, there's fragmented identity, okay? So look at my second bullet. If the motor cloud doesn't trust the brain cloud, the robot fails. The robot doesn't work, right? If there is not instant reporting of the robot failure, the whole plant is shut down. So being an executive, how will I make decision? So I need everything connected in real time, almost. Okay, so the solution is, what I am proposing here is a unified identity and data broker architecture based on Azure Entra ID as the root of trust. Okay, so I'm putting Azure because I'm from Microsoft. I'm talking Azure Entra ID. It could be Okta or it could be something AWS. Doesn't matter. Okay, but something where centralized identity source would be OAuth2 type, okay, where it can do machine identity, human identity, and all reflected in a unified manner. Okay. So basically, this becomes the default identity, positioned as the primary broker for work and identity. It's agentic identity also, unique cryptographic IDs for humanoids, not just service accounts. See, if you go to AWS or Google, if you run Google BigQuery, they're called service account. It's basically a machine identity, right? But now, with our Azure AI Foundry, and then I've seen for every humanoid or motor robot, so you put in a cryptographic hash and attach it as another attribute to the Entra ID profile. Hey, you have a human being. A robot becomes a human being with that hash, okay? And then Entra ID already provides a conditional access, okay? Just AWS IAM also gives you conditional access, okay? Doesn't matter. I'm just giving in Entra ID example, okay? So conditional access is a big thing, right? Suppose some humanoid did some wrong things, it went on the streets or did something, you give conditional access some threshold and just fail the humanoid, right? You can do that, okay? So this helps you geofencing and safety, okay? And now with this agentic rise, right? Now everybody's building multi-agent orchestration framework. Now we have Azure AI Foundry, right? Google has Vertex, right? And our friends in AWS has the Bedrock, they have Agentic Core, everything is, right? But again, here, because of Microsoft, I'll talk with our Foundry agent networks, right? So control plane, you use something like Bedrock or AI Foundry as a control plane, right? Orchestrates high-level reasoning and agentic missions. Okay, and now AI Foundry is model agnostic. Today's big news, right? You must have heard, right? We support ChatGPT, Cloud, Olama, all the models, right? It provides a superior enterprise-grade task adherence and guardrails. See, AI Foundry has a lot of guardrails already built in, right? Unless you're going full NVIDIA stack, Vera Rubin, all the software stack, and you're doing just NVIDIA physics stuff, okay, in the factory, you don't need these guardrails. But when you put business, governance, and country, all the rules and all the regulations, that is not going to cut it, right? So you can put your generic wrappers as guardrails, right? So this is diagram, right? our new diagram from the Azure AI Foundry Agent Service, you can see that you have the operations and evaluation there, and you have this function calling file search. It does that with MCP servers, right? And we have managed two sandboxes you can run locally and deploy, right? And then we have the managed RAG. And this is key. You have Azure RBAC, you have security, again, all the things, all the hooks are available, right? I'm not saying that you cannot do with Google or like AWS, right? You can do all this, okay? But I'm just giving what the AI Foundry agent service has all these integrations to make your physical AI do better, okay? And okay, so that is about the AI Foundry and Agent Foundry. But what is next? Next is your NVIDIA, your physics, the truth engine, right? Your NVIDIA stack, they have pretty good relationship with AWS, they have pretty good relationship with us, right? So I know your robots could have Jetson Thor and you have state synchronizers. That is left to NVIDIA, right? But in NVIDIA and Azure have backbone of the pretty good integration, right? We can bring in any of this factory data, the NVIDIA's data, into our, whether it's a Snowflake runs on Azure, Databricks runs on Azure, and we have our own Fabric Lakehouse warehouse. So you can bring that data, do your quick time analytics, okay? And then, so this is more about the connectivity I was talking about, right? It could be Cisco or it could be Alcatel, Europe, doesn't matter, right? We need to make sure that when we talk about identity and data, there's a connectivity piece, okay? Without that, nothing works, okay? So here, like Huawei, right? I'm giving an example, how they glue CZ and URLLC, low latency data transport between thinking and moving clouds. Okay, and also with Huawei, right? They have from their IoT. There is you can run locally, and then you can do OAuth to proxy to Azure or AWS and do. So your robot or mobile really gets an identity and gets order to do the work. Okay, and then there is the local audit anchor facilitates the initial recording of actions at the network edge. Okay, so you make sure that your telecom provider has all these facilities. Okay. Oh, and then, so now that the connectivity is done, and now I'm going to do the more, that talked about identity, right? Now this lake house, right? What you need is in all this data that is collected, as the factory is running, as the mobile robots are delivering, right? You need constant data, a place in a central place, but there is all the identity logs, right? Suppose operation started, everything come and wrapped in your lake house or some kind of a warehouse, right? So unified telemetry, all work data flows into Fabric One Lake. It could be data iceberg and format, zero copy analytics, right? Suppose one customer has a Snowflake, right? Or one customer has a Databricks, doesn't matter, right? I'm just giving a Fabric as an example, but you can use Snowflake and Databricks also to do your centralized analytics of your identity and data flows, okay? I'm telling you, right? I know we are all talking about Jetson, NVIDIA, right? I'm being a hardware engineer in the core. I know what one NVIDIA is doing and selling, though we have a CUDA layer. But when it comes to the complete business outcome, maybe it's war or maybe it's a car manufacturing or mobile, we need somewhere the data stored, right, and analyzed. See, you remember that Palantir is big, right? See, in the end, what is Palantir? Palantir is nothing but a Hadoop data cluster. Palantir, it takes military data, analyzes, and puts in a Hadoop cluster and gives you instant analytics. That's what it does. I know it's secret, nobody knows, but that's what it is in the end. It's the power of the data. Okay, and we need that kind of capability. Okay, so because we need executive visibility. Okay, that comes with your centralized data strategy. Okay, so this is more about why you need this unified data lakehouse strategy. Again, right, with actually Fabric as an example, Microsoft Azure Fabric Lakehouse an example, we have a cross federation with Google data, with AWS data, with any data, right? So we can mirror those data and give you in one place to do the analysis and make those decisions. Okay. And here also, look at the fourth one, right? It's how here at Microsoft Azure, we work with Snowflake, we work with NVIDIA, and all with iceberg format, all in a single pane of glass. That facility is available today. Okay? So again, I know I'm more about multi-cloud here, right? I already talked about, right? AWS Bedrock IoT. In your IoT handling, you might leave it to AWS Bedrock. And Google Vertex AI is a very good multi-modal AI engines. You could use that for your LLMs, right? Doesn't matter. But again, if your Azure identity can cross-federate with Google, with AWS, right? And can give you that identity pillar, okay? If you want to still go with other clouds, okay? It's an example, okay? So this is important, local policy, right? I know before me, some speakers talked about, right? I'm running a robot, a humanoid, right? The local policy is very important. It's the most important thing, right? It has to be, it is to be safe. They have to run safely and they have to run securely, okay? And there should be cyber security framework around it, right? And as these robots get deployed, there are hard-coded rules that override the cloud commands during hazards. The second bullet is very important, okay? So I will send a robot, say from Funak or from standard bots, programmed, sent to some factory in Taiwan or whatever, right? But once it lands there should be hard rules, local rules, which could override your centralized rules so that you adhere to safety and avoid hazards. And latency dependence. Safety checks happen in less than 10 milliseconds. Okay, that's the standard. Okay. Okay. So again, this is one of the Kai Werner. This is for the cyber security in a physical AI factory with real-time analytics, right? How it is being done. Okay, I will not talk about that. And this automated relearning, I know Shankar talked about it and others have talked about it, right? So here I give an example, right? How can you relearn? As your robots and your humanoids are working, right? How can you constantly learn what they're doing, right? You did physics simulation, you deployed it, something didn't work, you send back the data, you analyze centrally, right? This feedback loop is very important, this automated relearning. I give an example here also with Databricks and AI. And then once the relearning happens, you do a fleet sync. Okay? So, and then that gives you audit compliance and architecture. It's very important. You have to do triple storage, just like Hadoop, right? You have to store locally in primary cloud and then independent data cloud, right? Tamper-proof ledgers using cryptography hashing, right? And forensic ready. Anything that your robots do, right? Whether it's a military warfield or it's an iPhone manufacturing, it doesn't matter, okay? You have to analyze and log every step for future analytics, okay? So what we need is, I have only 1 minute left. What we basically, my summary, right? I gave 15 to 20 minutes, gave all these examples. Though I'm from Microsoft, I tried my best to be cloud neutral and just talk about how identity and data, they play a big role. It's more and more, they become afterthought, but my purpose was to educate you to be aware of this issue so that we can be better. And my thing is unified identity and data broker, UIDB. And then I am also, maybe in future, researchers will come with called CCRP, Cross-Cloud Robotics Protocol, okay? Some standard will come so that cross-cloud, these robots can work harmoniously, okay? To benefit us and the humanity, okay? Thank you.